And I'm like moving on the side of the tree trying to get to my bow. Like, don't see me. Don't see me. I get my bow, get my GoPro turned on. And as he walking away, he's like, I drew as he walked, like, oh, please stop, please stop. And he stopped with his head behind the tree. You see his antlers turn around. Like he was looking to see one last time. That was his last look. That
Nailed them.
was it.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Hunter's Advantage podcast. Today, we are joined by a special guest, Corey Anderson. Thanks for jumping on with us, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So for people that don't know you, and I'm sure there's not many of those out there now, Corey's an MMA fighter, Bellator champ, UFC vet, and I think the coolest title you hold is bow hunter. So thanks for jumping on, man. We're really excited to have you.
Not a problem. Like you said, the coolest one is the bow hunter, and that's why I enjoy that more than anything. I love doing. I like to talk, introducing myself to one of the new neighbors. Like, oh, you the fighter? Like, yeah, but I see them out in the yard shooting they bow paper tuning. Said, but this is what I really like to do. That's why I stopped introducing myself. Like, if you need help with anything, give me a call. I'll come on down and help you get the bow set up. So I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, it's awesome for me to get to talk to you. I'm a huge MMA fan myself, and like a hobbyist jujitsu guy. I'm a blue belt in jujitsu, and one of my favorite fights ever was you versus Johnny Walker.
I hear it every day.
Dude, that was awesome. You really hear that one every day?
Yes, literally.
Really?
People come to the gym, or I coach college wrestling, and guys come in the room that didn't realize I was a fighter. Well, you Corey, but you Johnny Walker is my favorite fight. Or if I'm in the store, somebody, oh, you're that Johnny Walker fight, or Instagram or something every day. At least once a day I hear it. So,
well, I'm not that special, but yeah, that was a special one for me. That was awesome. But man, I've been keeping up with you. It looks like you've had a pretty busy season already this year. What have you been getting into?
So season started in Kentucky first. So I came out here like a couple days later after opening day. Went out there, got some things ready on my property to make sure everything is going. Cameras are running, feeders are going off in time. So like when the rut come, we know where the books are going. I ended up just for a morning hunt before I headed back home, smacked the doe. Then came home, went from here straight to New Jersey, where I have a house and a lot of permission properties. Went out there where it was an earn a buck state. So I went and got my doe. It took me about 4 or 5 sits, got my doe. Then on the second sit after that, I got my buck. And I haven't been back out much since. I took my son out for youth weekend this past weekend. But I was actually sitting here when you came on the phone or on the screen. I was sitting here looking at my Spartan Force, checking the wind for tomorrow to see if I want to go out tomorrow or not, because it's going to be a little cold front. But the wind got to be right at one of my properties. So we'll see.
So that buck that you shot, that turkey foot looking thing, that was a New Jersey buck?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think many people, New Jersey doesn't come to mind much when you think of really good whitetail hunting. What is New Jersey like?
It's like a buffet. There's so many of them. And you can get so many tags. It's ridiculous. So you can get 3 buck tags in a year. That's just archery. But if you go ahead and apply for the 6-day shotgun and then 3-day or something muzzleloader, you get 2 more buck tags because you get a buck tag with each of those licenses. And then certain zones, so my zone where my house is, I can get 5 does per season, but it's 3 different seasons. So you got early season, up to October 26th. Then permit season starts from November 26th to December 31st. And then after that, it's winter season where it goes from January 1 to some places January 31st, and other zones it's like February 20th. And yeah, you can get unlimited does in some of those zones. You can get 5 does, but once your tag's out, you get more. Or if you finish at 5 in my zone, I can go to the next zone over, which is unlimited, and get 2 at a time. It's like the deer ain't that big. Well, some of them are. Like you can find a sleeper big one here and there, but the does, they come through so plentiful. Like I go to one spot where every time I go in, at least 8 of them come in together. It's never just 1 or 2. It's like 8 coming in a line. And I pick the last ones, poop, and then rest keep walking and get down, drag it out. And if it's a 2-zone spot, I'll wait till the next herd come through. They stop, they start sniffing my arrow, they look at the other deer, they just keep on walking and doop, get another one. It's pretty fun. It's like
that's awesome. Well, yeah, there's a lot of places where people don't shoot a lot of does or maybe don't have high deer density, and I've always kind of argued that those places where you get to shoot a lot of deer or there is a high deer density, it helps you progress as a bow hunter so much quicker because you can get a ton of different shot opportunities and make mistakes and learn really fast.
Yeah, not only that, but you get to learn how the deer react. You know what I mean? Even like it's business state where everything is for sale. So every time I come back here in Indiana where I live and I go back, another public land spot that I had is wiped out because somebody bought it and they building houses there or subdivision. So the deer keep moving to the woods. So it's like overpopulated and then they start crossing the street and you hitting the cars. So that's another reason why you get to kill so many. So that's good, but you get more opportunities. Like when you in there, you can see the way the deer react. You know what I mean? You hear the biggest doe is going to be the one on the lookout. They come in, they watching the tree, they're looking while the younger does are feeding and doing it, and you get many opportunities to notice that. It's like if my first doe I almost got a shot at, and I got busted by the big one. I saw her come in looking, and then she went behind some brush, and I lost her. I'm trying to find her on camera, and I decided to pan around on the other side of the tree with my saddle. And as I did that, on the other side of the brush, she was sitting there looking dead at me. She blew. It's like, like that's what they said. She's never feeding. She's always watching the surroundings. She's
Mhm.
always, you don't know that if it's your first year hunting. You just think it's a bunch of those and one of them randomly looking around. No, that's going to be the biggest one in the group. That's the one you actually want to shoot because that's the one that's going to always bust you. There's different things you learn, like you figure out where their feeding trees is. The one spot I hunt is like every tree is an oak tree. So
Mhm.
acorns everywhere. So you don't know where to set up. So the first time I'll try to set far back spot so I can see my binos when they come in glass which area, which trail they going, and what area they feed in every time. You know, because you got multiple opportunities. So even if I shoot one, I can come back the next time and test that theory. They bust me once, and I find out the next spot. Then you find out where the if the ground looked pretty flat, but just one little divot, and you find out that's where they travel. They travel in that same spot. You know, and more opportunities you have to get out there and hunt, the more opportunities you can learn these different things. You learn the specific wind in this area. Like even if it's the east wind, the trees are set up where it hit that tree line and it actually comes west every time. It's like different things you learn the more you're in the woods. As for when you got a one buck or one deer state where you get your buck and you get your doe, you get it out early, but you don't get to go out in the late season because you don't get to experience how they move in the cold or when all the cover is going off the trees, practicing what trees to get in, figuring out which one's going to be the best tree. Is it going to be better for a saddle or a tree stand or ground hunting or hunting the wind, like uh, stalking them on the ground, waiting for the wind to blow, get through there while they're making a bunch of noise where you can crunch on the leaves and they don't notice you. It's like, and that's why I like New Jersey because you get an opportunity to try everything for like 6 months straight, and you can keep killing and just keep going and keep practicing. And just when I go to another state, I'm pretty prepared already.
Yeah, those matriarch does are the ones to shoot. I always have those groups that come in and they're like whack-a-mole heads. One goes down, one goes up, one goes down, one goes up. And I'm always looking for that one that's leading the pack, and I'm always trying to shoot that one. That's the one that always gets me.
I mean, especially when you go there, they always popping the head up. One pop the head up, then you get ready to draw because he's going to put his head down. The other one next to him pop his head up, and it's like now you stuck in the middle of the draw. Like God. But that's it's again, that's another one of those challenges where you start realizing, okay, this isn't a good enough tree. That's kind of how I figured out which trees are the best, and now I try to always get into it. If it's two trees that grow up and they split, I always want to climb up and get in there. And you're like bulletproof. I realize that like I can be up there moving the camera, swinging back and forth, and all the leaves are gone, but I look like part of the tree. One, I'm already brown, so I don't have to wear face paint and all that, so I just blend in the middle. And then two is just it has that backdrop, the silhouette, and the front covering. Where if I can move the camera either way, it's like no matter what I do, they really don't see me unless I make a noise or something. So
Do you have issues hanging onto your saddle in those V trees? Because I've had problems like swinging around the tree when I have to connect to one because it's not straight up like they're
yeah.
like that.
So actually, if you one of my episodes I put up, it was last year in Oklahoma. It went up, so it split, and then I got to the point where it was pine trees in front of me, so I had to get a little higher to shoot over the pine trees on the trail. It went and it split again, so I had to pick. So what I did, I took my my tether rope and my lifeline, and hooked one on this tree and one on this tree, and had them both coming here. Because no matter which one I hooked on, I kept swinging around and swinging around. Like, you know what? I'm using both. And just hooked them both separately. And they both was coming down to the middle. And it worked perfect. Kept me from swinging. I was able to shoot right down the middle of the trees with a good, stable uh, aiming point.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. It worked.
Yeah, that's the only way I found to fix that V tree issue. Because, like you said, those V trees give you some good cover. But the first couple times I tried to step on my platform on one, like with just my tether, I swung all the way around the tree, and like I was like hanging off a bit halfway.
Yeah, it's either that or if you put your platform up and slightly angled just a little bit, it's like now your weight is going this way and one knee is straight and the other knee is bent, and that kind of bothers me. So I gotta get back down and straighten out, make sure it's completely straight. But you don't know in the dark because the tree is angled again. So you think you're set, but you're not.
Oh yeah. Well, I know a lot of folks know you from MMA, and I'm interested in the deer hunting stuff just as much as I am with that. But I'm kind of interested in how you kind of grew up and got into hunting. Like, how did you have a mentor that got you into it? Did you come from a hunting family, or how did you kind of get into this?
So I grew up rabbit hunting. We had beagle dogs my whole life. So my father learned rabbit hunting from his grandfather, and I think his grandfather did it before that. And we got into archery shooting when I was 12 or 13. One day we were in there and they was putting his new story in, and the guy was putting up these 3D targets. Like, we didn't know what they were, just like little animal figures. Like, what is he doing? What he putting in there? Then we came back a couple days later. He was putting them on these little things that would pop up and go down. He was testing them. They'll drop down. They'll go up. And we've been going in the store and asking, what is this? They go, oh, it's a 3D archery range, you know? So these targets, they go from 20 out to 50. And then you stand back on the line, and at one point they'll pop up, and you have a little bit of time to draw. You gotta get set, and then you shoot before it drops. If you shoot right as it go, it drops and you miss. Well, that was pretty interesting. So he went in the next day. I went with him, and he bought a Matthew Z7 or Z3, whatever it was back then. This was like 2002, no, 2004. So he got whichever Matthews it was then, and knew when it came out. He was doing. I was watching. I was like, I want to try it. So he bought me a Browning, and I did that from 12 to 15, 16, 16, because I had my driver's license. And I was telling one of my football teammates after practice, like, oh, what you doing tomorrow? Like, oh, after practice, me and my dad going to shoot 3D. Like, oh, wait, you hunt? You hunt? I was like, hunt? They have rabbits, but not with a bow. With a bow, you shoot 3D. Wait, you've never hunted with your bows? Like, wait, you can hunt with that? They're like, yeah, man, you can hunt deer, you can hunt pretty much anything with it. You just gotta have the right spot. You got people with land. Yeah, I got one of my neighbors, he would let me hunt, I'm sure. Like, well, you go to Walmart, you get a license tonight and find a climber stand, and I pick you up tomorrow and we'll go. And that was my first time going and been doing it ever since.
What state did you grow up in?
Illinois.
Okay, so you didn't even know you were in one of the whitetail meccas growing up then.
No. Even my first deer, I didn't get my first deer. So this is 16. I didn't get my first deer until I was 22 or 23 because I was coaching college wrestling at the time. And my first deer was like a 300-pound 8-pointer or a 300-pound 10-pointer. And I took it to the process. He's like, I haven't seen a deer this big in a long time. And everybody like, bro, you know you don't usually shoot deer that big, right? That's like that's like a once in a lifetime deer. Like it was the first deer I had come in shooting range of me, and I just happened to get the wind right, and I made the right call, and he came in. Other than that, I always been blowed out, or they just never come close enough. I never had opportunity, so I knew nothing. I just thought it was a deer, and so I took it to the process, and everybody was freaking out about it. And I was like, oh, I guess this is a big deal. So yeah, I was kind of spoiled on my first one.
That's wild. So did you go out and hunt like you were just hunting mainly permission properties or places with buddies, or do you hunt public or a mix of all of it?
At the time, it was just permission. Now I do a little bit of permission farms and permission urban spots, and then also this public land spots. I go out and scout. So it all depends on the wind. Like I said, right now I'm looking at my properties, and I got one spot where the wind is somewhat good. It's not ideal, but it'll work. But then I can go to this permission spot that I have to pass, or for private public land spot I have to pass to get to mine, where I got many different options. Or I can go to this permission farm that's up north. Only problem is I don't know if they cut the beans down or not yet, and if they didn't, it's gonna be a tough way to get through on my e-bike because the beans are so tall. So I usually wait till like November when I know the beans are cut, so I can just shoot right across the field.
Yeah, we just got back from Kansas and Nebraska, and there was 90% of it was standing corn and standing milo and beans. Oh, it sucked. All the deer were were in that stuff.
In there, and it's like I got one spot at this permission place, like one spot I can set up in a tree, right off the corner of the beans. It's like a little spot where the beans just didn't grow. And it's probably out for about 25 yards, just dirt and grass. And the bucks and does, I see them every morning come out of the woods in that corner, or they're going in at night and they feeding right there on the grass on the edge of the beans. Kind of like they can see what's coming from the distance so they can get out of there. Like I said, if I got it marked on my Spartan Forge like the trail, but even if I'm on an e-bike and I'm going fast and I go off trail for 1 second, and I got to backtrack and in the beans and get all caught up in your spokes and your sprockets. It's a hassle. So I'd rather wait until I know the beans are cut, where I can just beeline A to B, cut through the wind, whatever, and get to my spot before the wind busts. There's no noise. They don't know what it is. They just see a light zooming across the field.
I rode one of those e-bikes at ATA last year, and I was like, "Oh, what are these all about?" And I got on one. I was like, "Dude, I gotta have one of these.
You know,
These are they're awesome."
game changer. It was a huge point of me killing my 15 point last year because I got there a little later than I wanted to at a permission farm, and the farmer, the kid I used to coach in college, his dad was like they remember me from back then, so they always want to talk about stuff. And we was out there talking for like 30, 40 minutes. I'm steady watching my watch. Say, yeah, I got this big buck, and I showed him the picture. Oh, well, go get it. Good luck. So I beeline across the cut corner and find a tree and shoot up. And before I had my bow pulled in the tree, I heard a doe bust out and I heard grunting. I had to cut my interview short on the GoPro and get my bow up and get ready to draw because if I had to walk out there, I would have missed it. But literally, the fact I was able to shoot across that farm to the trees in like a minute and 15 seconds flat, just gunned it right across the corner. No wind trail, no noise, no nothing. Like just so fast. I got off and went straight up. I was able to get that deer as soon as I got in the tree.
Do you like just leave it at the base of your tree, or what do you do with the e-bike?
It depends. Depends on the area. If it's real thick, like that spot was kind of thick, so it's like a little field edge. You got where the cut corn was, a little 5 yards of tall grass, like CRP in the trees. So I just dropped in the tall grass. Now if it's in a wide open, I try to leave it like 10, 15 yards away, leaned up against two trees or whatever, where it's in the brush and they don't see it. And if it's nothing around me, then I will just drop it at the bottom of the tree. My plan is to shoot them before they get to my tree anyway. So I've had it before where the does come in, they smell the bike and kind of look over, they walk right past it. They don't think about it. So I'll never been busted because of it.
Yeah, that's cool. So growing up in Illinois, I mean, is the primarily the stuff that you were hunting ag country, like corn and beans and milo and all that sort of stuff?
Yep. So I only had two permission phones, the same two. Well, I only got one now. The other one, my buddy, he lost permission or whatever they owned. They owned a little portion of it, but the rest of it that we were hunting was the neighbors, and they said they could. Then all of a sudden, their kids got into it, and they can no longer hunt it. Now that I have a sponsor of mine who has a small bean field and a small corn field, and it's like a strip of woods that go into a Y down the middle of. They go and it's split. On the other side is like these houses, this family that own a trust, they own all that, and he owns the rest. I'm the only person he gives permission to hunt it because people have been asking me to hunt for years. But since you bring business to the bar, I'll let you hunt it, and that's where I killed my 10 point. So really, in Illinois, that's the only permission I have right now. But I haven't really been back to Illinois in a while since I changed my residency. It costs so
Mhm.
much to hunt there. It's like it ain't really worth it to me. I only get to go back like a weekend at a time. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's an expensive weekend if you got a deer tag too. Yeah,
exactly.
the corn, I mean, that ag country, I'm from Oklahoma and I live in Texas now, so I never really hunted ag my whole life, and I just kinda assumed it's like the hunting TV shows. You go in, you sit over a corn, and here comes all the deer. Boy, if that couldn't be any further from the truth. Like, it's just as hard as all the other stuff, and I've kinda talked crap on it a little bit, and I've got humbled the last few times I've went and hunted ag country.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually it's one of the hardest because especially when the crops are still standing, you don't know where they are. It's like you can't see them until you have that little strip, your trees in the woods, but the strip between the tree and the woods is only like 5, 6 yards. So you're trying to set up where you got the trail they usually come out, you got the at least 15, 20 yards, they don't see you draw. When they come out, it's so quick. If they don't stop for 1 second at a scrape or a piece of corn or something that didn't drop right there, or a bean that fell off the pie, they're gonna keep on walking. So your shooting lane is that quick. Then on top of that, they got so many different places they can hide out. They bend over here, and you don't know it, but they can see you still. They stand up out there, they seeing you, but you have no clue they even in there. It's just so hard,
Yeah, well,
frustrating because
you
it's
get
so
a lot of
big,
that.
it's so wide.
Yeah, you get a lot of that stuff too in ag country where it's like you can see block timber and stuff, and you're like, "Oh, they're in there," and then you walk up to it, and it's like an impenetrable wall, and you're like, "Okay, I can't get in there, so now how am I gonna get to them?" And then you kinda gotta find a way to hunt around them and hunt them out, and it's really not easy. They kinda got the perfect idea of hiding in plain sight where you can't get in there on them.
100%. They live there. It's their territory. You're an imposter. You're trying to figure out their home. It's like if a robber comes into your house, they come in the dark. They looking around with flashlights trying to figure out where everything is. As for you can get to the house in the dark because you live there. And same, they know exactly where to hide out to where if I come in this way, they gonna take off before you even get in the tree because they have an exit plan. They got the wind set up. You think a deer beds in this spot all the time. Mm-mm. If the wind switch the opposite way, they got another spot that you have no clue about. You might find that one deer bed, but that's only gonna work in his favor. It's like you always got to catch a deer slipping up. It's hard to do with a mature buck, even a mature does, because they know what's happening.
Yeah, so let's say you live in Indiana now?
Yep.
So is that pretty similar, or I know, or is it different from Illinois in
No,
some
it's
ways?
similar. Like where I'm at is like around my house right now. My backyard is a what? It's like a 500-acre bean field right now. So I got a shooting range, 120 yards right along the bean field down the back edge of my property. The other side of the neighborhood is corn. They just cut that last week for like 20 minutes down the highway. It's all corn. So I get to Indianapolis, downtown Indianapolis. If I go the opposite way, it's all corn and beans and stuff for hours. You go through one little town of Shelbyville, which is all corn and farmers, and keep going to the next town, all corn and farmers. So I get all the way down to Louisville. So I'm like out here in straight ag country. My property is just big woods in the middle of a bunch of ag farms. So that's why I'm struggling to get deer right now because none of the crops are cut. So they all still in there.
Do you see, like, a huge influx of deer movement when they cut all that bedding, all the fork I bet they come to that timber pretty quick, huh?
Oh, yeah, like so 2, 3 weeks ago when I was coming back from Jersey, I was driving and my mulch trees was going off. The camera just kept going off. Like, what's going on? And I'm looking. Every time I look, there's a different buck coming through. Different buck going across. I got this bridge that goes across the creek that leads to the neighboring property. And it kept coming through. And they every like 5 minutes, new deer, does, buck. Like, what's going on? And then like an hour later, the neighbor came through on his side by side on my side of the property and was checking the creek to see if it was dammed. Well, I guess they were out there like scouting in their woods, pushing around the field. And as every time they moved to a new spot, they was pushing up deer and they were just coming over to my property, getting away from them, like they got the escape route. So in like the next couple of weeks, once they cut the fields, like right now, I get one or two random does or random bucks. Does coming in often. On food, two big food plots in the middle of my property. So once all the ag is gone, those bucks just come over and just feed. They tear my beans up in like a week. Then it's just they come hitting the oats. Oats, they eat them. They grow back. They come back and they eat them. They eat them. Then they start hitting the acorn trees hard in the morning. So once they cut that, my spot is just like it's the only place in there with cover and food and a creek and a river that run through it. So they come over there often. It's just right now it's slim pickings. Like I said, I keep watching cameras and I get one buck maybe throughout the day and a bunch of does and just not worth making the drive down right now.
So, have you had pretty good success putting those little smaller kill plots within that timber?
Yeah. So the guy who owned it before, he had it for 41 years. And every year he showed me his wall, he got massive bucks. He's the biggest one he killed was 183 or 184, 183, 184 inches. He was 76 years old, and he said after that, that was the biggest deer I ever killed. I don't really care to kill anymore. He comes out and help me at the property all the time. He lives next door to the property. He comes out when I'm there. We talk, we hang out, and he sent me a picture. He got trail cameras on his property around his house. There's a nice buck. That's a good buck. Kill him. He just said like, hey, I don't care to hunt him anymore. Like I just like watching him. So but yeah, he's told me the success he's had every year. He's same thing. He put eagle seed beans and buck forage oats. I've been doing the same thing thing every year on it. I make sure the creek isn't dammed up so there's water coming in, and you got all this tree. They never bed here, but they bed on the edge of these ag fields, and they know where the food is, so they come right back. First thing in the morning, they come eat, they go back, and at night they come hit the food plots and they go back. So they said, night you hunt the oats, morning hunt the oats, evening hit the food plot. And every time I went in there, I tagged out in 6 hunts last year, but I went in there 5 times. I killed the 15 point on another permission farm and took my son back to kill a doe. And every time I went in there, I saw about at least 3 or 4 shooter bucks just cruising across. Just they might not be in shooting range. I had one in shooting range and just wouldn't give me a shot. Like every time I get ready to draw, he was looking at me. He put his out head down. I go to draw, and he started shooting, looking up, looking at me. The doe started moving. He followed the doe. And I was like, ah. So I ended up killing the next one the next day, the one I got the next day. But I've always seen them hitting that plot when I'm there.
Do you do a lot of scouting in the spring and summer, or is it mainly just use that time as a way to like kind of set up the places that you have permission to already?
No, I'm scouting year round. Even right now when I'm hunting, I go out. Like if I go out tomorrow, I go up and sit in the tree probably till 8:39 because I know in the midday nothing really moves around my property. And then after that, I'll just start scouting. I'll start hitting all the trails with the e-bike, trying to see if any scrapes have popped up yet, any newer reels, other reels where they aim off, but sometimes someone start getting fired up early. Like I had a video of 2 nice bucks in the middle of the oak plot at like 7:30, right at shooting like dusk, whatever, going at it. And it wasn't a sparring match, like they were fighting. I sent it to the oak property and I said, hey, they getting fired. That's like a fight a little early. Maybe they're getting riled up early. Something's going on. So I'll go back now and start trying to look for that area where they starting to mark trees and scrape up constantly, make a community scrape, get it open where these deer are traveling. And then I'll start setting my mobile hunting setups there. If I think it's a good sign, if I'm hunting, I see a lot of trails coming through there, I'll get one of my stands down from the barn and go set it up one afternoon in the middle of the day. So I'm always scouting. I go in and hunt, but when I'm done, I always sit and scout for a bit. Mark new maps and spots on my Spartan Forge, make it look like a Christmas tree.
Oh yeah, I've all of my maps look like Christmas trees too. That's fun. I really enjoy that aspect of it. Like you know, you see a lot of folks on these kind of legacy spots, right? The spot you hunt year after year after year after year, and those deer change their patterns based on what you're doing too. So like finding that most recent information and setting it over it, it kind of keeps it all dynamic and fun in my mind. That's what that keeps me going is getting to scout a lot and finding new spots.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, but just like you said, it's like, yeah, if you hunt the same spot over and over and over, eventually one of those deer is gonna slip up and make a mistake. They come in chasing in the rut, they don't care. But if you want to be able to kill them outside the rut, you got to switch your patterns like they do. You have to change. If you always go to one spot over and over, like I said, one of my spots is 155 acres. If I go to one spot over and over and over, they got 149 and a half acres to move around me, and I'll never see them. But if I go in every time playing to win, check a different spot, move 200 yards this way. Now, so this time in my binos on glass, I see a buck moving in the distance, maybe another 150 yards. I move closer that way. All of a sudden, I see this 6 or 7 deer that's been moving over here that I had no clue. And I get closer and closer. And also, they catch me. They shift their patterns. I'm trying to catch them again. Get you another spot where there's more deer, just because you're constantly moving. It's like I have my property in Kentucky. My family owned that since 2012. I've hunted the last 4 years, and I've only killed a spike buck out of there. But now I'm getting closer. Where last year I had this big 10 come in, and the year before in the rut, I found where a bunch of acorns fall, and the bucks are chasing the does over there because they was feeding. It's just now figuring out the right wind to get in and catch them. Like I thought I had a wind come to the entrance once. So I got this perfect. I go in, I hear a big blow, put a camera there. That night, a big old 12 pointer comes walking by. I'm thinking, was that the buck that blew at me? Now I got to figure out which way is he coming in, which way is he leaving. Do I have to come in through this entrance or the second entrance? Do we have to cut a new entrance in so I can circle all the way around and get back downwind? But if I just go to one tree or keep going to the 360 blind in the middle of the plot, I'll never figure it out because I got to wait until he makes that mistake to walk across the plot or chase a doe up here. But I'm trying to cut him off and figure out where is he going and where is he going to. Like, where is he coming from and where he's heading, and kind of catch him in the middle. That's what makes it fun.
Listen, guys, we wouldn't be able to do the podcast if it wasn't for you all. So we just want to say that you guys are greatly appreciated, and thank you for following along each week.
And speaking of support, we are partnered with Out on a Limb Manufacturing, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, Matt and Chase are great, down-to-earth guys, and they make some of the best saddle hunting products out there. Whether you're looking for a set of climbing sticks or a mobile, lightweight, hang-on tree stand, or maybe you're even a one-sticker.
You mean tree Pilates?
Yes, tree Pilates. If you've been to the grocery store or the gas station lately, you know that Uncle Joe is doing his absolute worst to take all your money. That's why we need hunting gear that lasts year after year. And trust me, I've been rocking the same Out on a Limb Shakar climbing sticks for 4 years and the Ridge Runner 2.0 saddle hunting platform for a few years as well. This gear is built to last.
We can confidently say that Out on a Limb is the best bang for your buck.
And it's the best gear if you want to deflate a big old buck.
Ooh. Make sure you use code HNTA15 at outonalimbmfg.com for 15% off anything on their website.
So if you can show them the same support that you guys show us, please go to outonalimbmfg.com and use code HNTA15 for 15% off at checkout. Now let's get back to the podcast. Oh, yeah. My brother went and hunted a piece of public land yesterday in Oklahoma, and he was showing me this kind of ridge that he was wanting to hunt. He said, should I set up halfway or should I set up all the way on the top? And I said, here's the cool part. Just hunt and see. And you might mess it up, you might not. And then he shot at a buck yesterday. And I was like, hey, there you go. You wouldn't learn that unless you're out there scouting and hunting. Like that's how you do it, man.
Yeah. It's like the saying, you can't shoot them on the couch. Same thing, like you can't be really scared. Like I don't want to get too aggressive, but then you don't want to get too passive. And they only come through that path one time, and they're so far away. Like it might be a one-time thing, or it could be they come through there every day. Where if you bump them once, they got the bump and dump. You bump them that first time and screw up the first time, they might forgive you in a couple of days. They might come back in, checking on a different wind. Best time in any area is that first sit. One, you get a lot, or you might get your opportunity to shoot. You just never know. But either way, you don't know unless you try. Whether you hunt it, period. Like you say, just hunt it. Figure it out on your own. It might not go well. Then you find a new plan and try it a different way. Or maybe another year. But you got to hunt it. Give it an opportunity.
So would you consider yourself like an aggressive hunter or somewhere in the middle? Or how would you kind of characterize yourself?
It depends on my time frame. Like, like right now, as of what it's looking like is I only have till November here. So the first couple sits, I'm going to sit more like on the outskirts of where I know the trails are and where the sign is I'm seeing, just so I can see where they are, how many deer coming through. Are they going left, right? Are they coming to the water? Are they coming from or going to the water? Are they coming from the water? Are they coming from the ag field? Because sometimes you have them on camera and look like they're coming from this way, but really they originally came from this way and they looped all the way around to check and they come back through. I've had that happen where I got right in the smack dab on the edge. Oh, they coming right there. I'm going to get him. And he came from the opposite way. Like, wait. Then he circled all the way around and busted me at the top of the hill. Like, wait. The camera showed him coming from that way. Like, he was coming in from the neighbors, circling all the way around my property, all the way up to the food plot, just scent checking. And my thermals are going up, and he caught me at the top of the hill. Sometimes I'm aggressive. I only got like 2 or 3 days. I'm going to get right in there. Like the buck I killed, I got 20 yards from where I know they come in and feed in Jersey because I had 1 day left. I didn't have time to really risk it. I got to get in there early and hopefully he's in there feeding as the light come up and I got my opportunity. That's exactly how it happens. If I got time, I'll sit all the way back on the edge of the property and just glass, pretty much just an observation sit on the edge where I know they can't get in behind me, where a house or something is right up behind me, not even expecting to see any deer in shooting range, and just sit till dark. And then the next day I move a little closer. I'm going to try off of this tree. And they go to a different path. All right, I'm trying this tree. They go to a different path, and I'm looking like, okay, what's the tree where I can get in? I can get a shot 20 yards to my left, 20 yards to my right. I'm in the right wind space, but I can also swing around the saddle and shoot directly that way. And that's usually when I'll figure it out. I get them. If they don't bust me on their way in, I'm usually going to get my shot that way.
Yeah, I guess it does depend. Yeah, how much time you have. There's a lot of people, and I'm one of them. Like weekend warrior type stuff and hunting public land. It's like I see a lot of people playing it passive in situations like that. I'm like, I'm not. I'm trying to sit on top of that thing if I can.
Especially on public, especially if you got your eyes on a certain deer. If you already got them on camera and that's a deer you want this year, and you only got a weekend to do it, or every other weekend, and you got somebody that has time like me, for say, somebody that's hunting every day, I'm in there 7 days a week, and you only have 2 days. That first or second weekend, I got to be the deer down in the first or second sit because I don't want anybody else to get them. And that's how it was me in Jersey. Like I knew if I wait, because I know there's some other people that hunt around the property, and one person has permission next door, I know him and his son kill pretty good bucks if they see him. Like I don't have, I got today and tomorrow morning. So I'm going in as aggressive as I can. I'm going smack dab down the wind where he's not going to smell me, but I'm right on him. Where if I make any moves, he going to see me. And he saw me, but I still got my shot off. It was, sun was coming up, sun was still raising, and you could see him look up at the camera, and he put his head down, and he started walking backwards, and he turned around, and he put his head behind the tree, and he go to look back one last time, and that's when I got the shot. But he should have kept moving. If he would have kept walking, I would have never got him, but he stopped.
They get greedy sometimes, man. They're just like, no, I'm gonna one more look, and that's usually when it's thwack.
Like I said, it was sunlight or sunrise was 7:30. It was 6:43. So it was barely could see. All I could see was a black silhouette. And I put my binos up, and as he got a little closer and closer, I saw the big antler in the one. Like, oh, that's him. Then his doe walked right underneath my stand. The episode is actually dropping on my channel this week, coming up Sunday. But the doe coming in my son, I'm like, oh, she's gonna blow. She's gonna catch my scent. She's gonna get out of here. And she's looking dead up at me. I got her on camera. I just happened to look up, and that buck was following her. I was like, oh, and I moved the camera up, put it around. As soon as I stopped it, it like vibrated, like shook a little bit. And he stopped and looked up, and you see him looking directly in the camera. And I'm like moving on the side of the tree, trying to get to my bow. Like, don't see me. Don't see me. I get my bow, get my GoPro turned on. And as he walking away, I drew as he walked, like, oh, please stop, please stop. And he stopped with his head behind the tree. You see his antlers turn around. Like he was looking to see one last time. That was his last look.
Nailed it. Did he go very far?
No, it was actually a horrible shot because it was low light and I was trying to rush it. But it went all the way through. It was further back, but my arrow was like 31.5 inches. And it went all the way up to the fletchings, and it still cut his heart and lungs up from the backside. So it worked perfect.
Oh, man.
I thought he was going to go for it. Like, it was a bad shot. I called my buddy with a tracking dog, like, just in case. I'm not going to track. I'm going to give it a few hours, but just stay on call. I might call you later tonight, like 6. I'm walking out. I'm walking to my car. I'm talking to the camera to go for, like, yeah, it's a bad shot. I'm sick to the stomach, and I happen to look to the left. And I see, like, this little piece of metal up on a tree, and it looked like his blood splattered, Chris. What the hell? And I walk over close to it, and it actually just happened to be a rusted piece of metal on a tree. But as I got to, he was right on the other side, tumble. Like, oh, shit. His house rounded up, came out, like, what the hell is going on? But I didn't care. I was excited. I thought I had to wait all day. He was right there dead the whole time.
Yeah, it's not often that you stumble on going back to the truck either.
No. If I didn't look up and see that piece of metal, I wouldn't. I would have kept going. But I saw that piece of metal. I was like, is that blood? Let me just go over there and check this out. And it happened to be rust. I'm like, oh, nope, nothing. But I look over the other side. Wait. And he was sitting over there tumbled upside down. His belly was facing the other way, but his antlers got stuck in the dirt. So it was like stuck underneath him. So I didn't see the horns. It was just like his brown back facing me. It just looked like the ground. Like, wait, that's the deer. Yeah. Probably 45 yards max from my tree. It was pretty good feeling.
Oh, he didn't go very far at all. I was blood tracking one opening day one time that I shot him pretty far back, didn't get very much penetration, and we were using a blood tracking dog, and this dog was struggling. It was just the dog's first time ever out. The dog was like only 3 months old, and we were trying, and it took us up the trail, and the dog got super wore out because opening day it was still like 90 something degrees. And I was like, well, I'm going to go take a piss back here by the cedar. I was kind of getting upset. I went to take a leak and I was like, oh, he's right here. We were like 5 yards from him. It was awesome. Yeah. The dog, he led us close enough. I mean, if you could take a few steps and find him.
I mean, tracking dogs, like I have one of my own, but when I was in Jersey, she was here with the family. So it's like training them, especially when they're young. Like when I passed her for the UBT1 test, she was on the trail the whole time, but she was, like you said, she don't know. It's her first time out. So like she was always probably 10 to 15 feet off the trail that the trainer laid, but she was using the scent in the air. And since the scent was pushing from the trail over the way she was following it, Then when she got to the area, I could see the guy was like the way he was acting and looking at me, like she was near the target. So I was like, hunt it up, find it. And eventually she just kept circling and circling, and she got smaller and smaller, and then found the stuff like underneath. They piled it underneath a brush, like a down tree. A deer was hiding underneath. And he showed me the map, like the whole entire track. She was never on the trail, but she was 10 yards, 10 feet off, using the wind. She's a young dog right now, and eventually she's gonna hone in on that as she get older. But right now in the beginning, she's just used to the smell. You work with her with the smell of blood and the hooves, so she don't quite understand that she need to follow a trail. She's just following the scent. But as she gets older, she'll put her nose directly on where that deer went, and she'll follow it. And now I can see that she's 5 now, and I can take her out. And when she find that spot, and she start pulling that collar, her nose won't come up, and she'll be right on that deer's tail till she finds it. So it's pretty cool. It's something you just gotta get into.
What kind of dog do you have?
Chocolate lab.
Okay, yeah. Is it a pretty good? Are those pretty good? Scent trailing dogs. I've heard that like they can train most dogs to do it. Like the dogs have such good noses that there's a lot of different breeds that can do it.
You can train pretty much any breed you want. You just gotta take the time. Like the guy told me at the bow shop, 10 minutes a day is all you need until she's ready. Don't overdo it when she's young. Give her 10 minutes a day. So the first deer I killed, I saved every piece of organ, the lung, liver, kidney, everything. I saved it all in the bag. And you start off, he said, start with the liver. It's the strongest smelling thing. It's a strong. So you just start with the liver, play with her, play with a chunk, as she's a puppy. And you take another chunk and you drag it like 5-10 yards. And you hide it behind like a tree or something. And let her practice the puppy doing that. And you do it even further, 25, 30, 40, 50. And you get to a point where that liver, the scent starting to wear out. It's hard to track. Now you just take the blood and use a piece of the lung or a piece of heart as a reward at the end, or little rewards along the track. And then you squirt the blood for so long. And they get used to tracking that blood. Then you take the blood, you put it like in a little circle on the ground and take a pair of hooves and stomp the hooves in it, and you walk the hooves like feet. And then they follow that track of that. Then you get to a point where you don't put any blood. You just take the hooves. If you take a deer that was shot in the guts or in the vitals in the track for like 200 yards, they hooves. So you just use those hooves and go. Just go. No blood. Just go. Try to get all the way out to like either 750 yards to a mile is the furthest I've done. And just let them track, just no blood, no scent. And that's when they start honing in their nose over and over and over. And they go from the blood and the scent into the hoof scent. And that's when they get spot on. It's a process. It took about 2-3 years before she was on where I know if she's going out. I got to a point in a place where you don't have to hold a leash. I have a GPS collar, just let her go. Like, where you going? Like, just watch this. When she stopped moving, she got it. Sure enough, like, all right, she's on it. You go in there, and there she is, sitting next to the deer. So it's fun. It's another thing, just like scouting, putting the pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah, you're building like your own recovery team like that. I mean, that's cool. Do you help your buddies and stuff with it, or is it mainly just you did it for yourself?
I did. So the first hunt I had in the rain in Jersey, I shot the doe. I thought she was down. I walked up on her, I'm filming. All of a sudden, I looked down. She put her head up and took off. And it was raining. So all the blood and everything was washed away at this point. So I can't track it. And my buddy, I got this guy. I gave him his number. The guy called this time. I thought I needed him. He came out, and it was so fascinating to see how that dog worked. Like, just watch. Just trust me. I'm going to find this deer. Like, it's been raining for like 10 hours, bro. Like, you trust me, right? You called me for a reason. The rain enhanced his scent. Watch my dog work. Fascinated. Got my own dog. And I did it just to have one. So I got one. Then I found some more buddies that was hunting. Then I'll use it for them. Then I joined the UBT1 club or whatever in New Jersey, where my name was on like a website where people can call me and I can go out and track for those guys.
Yeah.
Then it got to the point where people started calling me just because they wanted to see if it was actually Corey Anderson. then I took my name off the list. Like, yeah, I ain't gonna do that no more. I'll just track for friends, but it was still cool. It's still fun. I enjoy it. I just don't have time to do it really anymore.
Yeah, somebody calls you out. They're like, "Can you sign this?" You're like, "I thought I was here to crack a deer."
Oh man, like I shot a deer, but when I saw that, I was thinking like, could this be like Corey Anderson? Oh man, it is Corey. That's awesome. It's like they kind of like fanboy and whole time on the track. They try to talk. I'm like, I gotta pay attention to the dog right now. Sorry.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's cool to meet fans in different ways, but just wait till I'm done tracking. I'm like trying to focus. I'm trying to answer questions and talking. They talk about Johnny Walker, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I got
Yeah, that's funny. We used a little a tracking dog one time as like a Yorkie looking something with like a big old mustache. The thing, I swear to you, was only 6 inches off the ground, and the dude let it go in this Kansas prairie, and it just disappeared. Like all you would just see was like a little tail come through the grass every once in a while, and it just started barking. And I was like, "What is that?" And I looked over, and it was ripping at the hindquarter of the deer. I was like, "Dude, that thing can't even see through the grass, so you know it's got to be the nose. They can't even see. It was this
uh,
tall."
that's the my buddy's dog. He did Jaeger. That's what he was. Same look, like you said, that dog with the mustache. I said, this little dog, but like these were some of the best tracking dogs ever. They use these for like tracking over in Germany and all that, for tracking bear and all that. Watch. Like he's so small, how? But he goes through the brush. That's the thing too. Like when they get in the thick stuff, like my dog, she trying to pull through it and she get tangled and she start trying to jump over.
Mhm.
Those little dogs, they let go of the lead for a little bit and they just scurry right through. They catch them up to it when it's in the open, pick the lead up again. It's like, yo, well, my big dog, I can't do that because she gets tangled up. So I got to go in there and cut her out the brush and pull her and yank her. But those little dogs, they stay low to the earth and they get to work.
Yeah, that's an ultimate tracking dog right there. Because I always thought tracking dog was like, oh, you're gonna, those droopy eared bloodhounds, like from TV shows and stuff. And it's like I've seen every single breed out there tracking deer, and it is awesome to watch one work. Because I'm always like, the deer didn't run that way, and then you watch the dog, and you're like, he's like, well, no, follow it, and then it's over there, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm stupid.
It ain't so much we're stupid. Like it didn't go that way, but sometimes they take like a shortcut. Like they go this way and they cut back. Like one of the tracks they tell you to do in the book is like you go out and you make like a big old circle. You go back across the same track. They come back across the track and you go in the direction. You want your dog to follow both loops, but the whole time the dog is trying to cut short. It smells it. It's trying to go this way. They're trying to teach you stay on the track at first. Then as you get more advanced, it's kind of like, okay, now that you know the track and the dog is leading that way, sometimes it's okay to let it go because there's no point in circling around because you're trailing the scent with your feet as well. So when you walk through the scent, you're making a bigger circle to get them confused. So yeah, sometimes they do that. Like they didn't go that way, but the dog is telling you the deer came back this way. It looped around and made a scent through here somewhere. So I'm gonna take a shortcut. And I remember the first deer I did for my buddy, he said that, like, bro, the deer didn't go that way. You know the trail is always this way. They always go this way. Like, dude, just chill. Let it thing work. Let's see what she do. Sure enough, she went over to the neighbor property, jumped the creek, went over right underneath the neighbor's stand. The deer was sitting there dead. Like, dang, I guess I know it is good. Like, yeah, we got to trust the dog. They know way more than us just from the center they know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Watching dogs work is really cool. Thermal drones are cool, but watching a dog work is way cooler. So
Yeah.
I mean, so did you get into hunting when you got into it? Were you mainly rifle hunting, or did you go straight into bow hunting? I know you said you did 3D archery for a while.
So I did straight bow hunting. I've rifle hunted once in high school. I went with my dad's buddy and his son up north to Eagle River, Wisconsin. I was the first I hunted with a rifle, and like even then, it just wasn't that. Oh, excuse me, exciting to me because you didn't have to be as tentative to your surroundings. It was kind of like you were expecting. They told me those deer probably if they cross, they're going to cross like 200 yards up there. So make sure you're ready to shoot. Like so you got to be able to shoot further. As for a bow, if that deer come near you, you got to be ready because you go to grab your bow and it's there. It's too late. 200 yards. I've been in the blind in Texas with the veterans. I do veteran hunts, and they're smoking a cigarette or they talking and playing memes on the phone. They laughing, and all of a sudden I know where deer power 300 yards away. They scope up. There's a presence zooming. Pow! It's down. Like yeah, it's fun. That's when you with the bow, you got to be on alert all the whole time. There's no talking loud. You can whisper. You got to keep your eyes on head on the swivel. This and that. It can't be moving. It's everything counts. It's precision at that point. It's precision and stealth. As for with the rifle, it just never was that exciting. So when I do rifle hunts, it's usually like I said with the veterans now in Texas, or if I go to Oklahoma with my buddies out there. Other than that, I'm using the bow all the time.
Yeah, you're right. The intimacy of the bow hunting is the really fun part, and one of my favorite parts of bow hunting. it's the sucky part, but it's one of my favorite parts is when you handcuff you, like you're looking at your bow like 3 feet away in the tree, and they're just sitting there and they sneak up on you. They're 15 yards away, and you're like, how the hell am I gonna get that in my hand and draw them back? And they're like pegging you, and you're like, oh no, I already messed up.
Like I said, that one time on my property last year, I had the buck come in. That's what happened. Like I'm on the saddle, I'm looking this way, I'm moving the camera, and I'm watching this doe, a buck coming. I'm zooming over to him. As soon as I get on him, I'm trying to go to my bow. He looks up at me. He puts his head down, so I go. He look up at me. By the time I get my bow, he started moving, so I have to turn all the way around this way on my saddle. I'm getting one of them reverse shots. And it's like, and he keep moving further and further. And he look up every time I get ready to draw. He look up at me. He looked down. He started moving. By the time I got full draw, he was like 40, 50 yards away. I'm like, If I was just have my bow in my hand instead of the camera, I could have shot him right there. But it is what it is.
The camera saved a lot of deer's lives. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where if I don't get on camera, I'm sorry. I got the GoPro going. At least you can see me shoot. You can see my reaction. But I'm just tired of missing deer because I'm trying to keep them in the camera angle. Or so more important to keep the camera moving than getting my bow in hand. So
if you guys are anything like us, you love being in the deer woods and chasing big bucks. But there's another part of you that has that itch to chase other big game species.
If you've ever dreamed of chasing black bear, mule deer, or moose, Alberta, Canada is the land of opportunity for these adventure-style hunts.
Each year, hundreds of first-time visiting hunters from around the world come to Alberta for the options, quality, and accessibility that the land offers.
With over 1,800 Boone and Crockett entries and endless possibilities of taking multiple species on a single trip, Alberta is truly a paradise for a big game hunter. This is why we partnered up with the Alberta Professional Outfitters Society. To check it out, go to apos.ab.ca and click Find an Outfitter. From there, you can browse all the different big game species and hunting styles that fit with what you want out of the hunt.
Or you can send a free hunt inquiry through the Follow the Lead tool, and the outfitters who have what you are looking for will reach out to you directly.
So make sure to check out apos.ab.ca to learn all about hunting in Alberta and get connected to the right outfitter for you. So is there anything else you're planning on doing this year besides New Jersey and Indiana? Or are you going any other places?
Oh yeah, I travel anywhere I can get over the counter tag. Once I fill my tags here, I'm going everywhere. For now, I'm going Idaho black bear with my bow with my buddy Ross Sevy from Switchback Outdoors. After that, I'm trying to get this tag here. Go to Kentucky, fill my buck tag there. My in-laws got land in Wisconsin, so along with cousin get the DeQuistos. My wife is a DeQuisto, so her brother and father is Pete and Andre's uncle and brother and all that. So I go up and hunt with them in Wisconsin. I might try New York this year. It's like I get people to reach out all the time. Oh, just come hunt with me here. Come hunt with me here. Or we gonna come back out this way. I usually go to Oklahoma each year. I got buddies out there I hunt with. So it's just kind of like timing again. If I'm in fight camp, if my tags feel here, how long do I have to hunt here? Do I have any other tags purchased already? I got a buddy in Texas that want me to come out and hunt with him again. But like I said, the week he wanted me to come, I'm going to Idaho. It's all about timing. But if it's over the counter, if somebody called and I have time, I don't really have a work schedule. I can train anywhere. So just book a plane ticket or jump in the truck and just drive.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, so do you try to discourage away from fall fight camps, or are you because that's your favorite time of the year, or do you sometimes do it anyways?
Well, my luck, I usually always have a fight every fall. I had one this year, and that's why I was in New Jersey. I was back training, and so I was like, all right, I'm heading back to Indiana. I'll come back here and hunt, and then I'm gonna come back with the family. That's exactly what I did. So I got my buck there. My plan now is to get my buck here in October, get one in Kentucky before November. So if this fight happens in January, I can go back to Jersey. And in the first month, I can still travel. I can fly to Texas, whatever, and hunt before I have to get locked down in camp. But yeah, I find ways to hunt around it regardless. Every rut I'm usually fighting or in a pre-rut fighting or in camp. But I still find opportunity to hunt, especially in Jersey. I have 9 years of knocking on doors there, so I have quite a few permission properties, and friends with farms and other friends who know people that give me permission. So I'm a hunt wherever I am. My bow stays in the back of my truck at all times. So I have 2 bows in Jersey at my house there. So I don't have to travel back and forth anymore with the bow. I just jump on a plane with a little beater car. I leave left outside the house, a little rust bucket,
Yeah.
put a tarp in the back. If I shoot some, put it in the back. When I was back last time, I had to pull out all the carpet and everything and pressure wash the trunk because it was blood all over, all in the spare tire compartment, puddled up like this thick blood and ice
Oh
water.
yeah.
So yeah, like I don't care. I'm just gonna hunt. Whatever I need, I do it on an e-bike and drag that down the road on my trailer. I don't care hunting. So
By any means. By any means. That's awesome.
right, that's it. By any means necessary.
Yeah. So, I mean, you talked about going to Idaho for blackberry. Is there any kind of, dream hunts that you want to do? Are you after the Super Slam? Are you after anything or just whatever kind of presents itself? You're down to stick it.
No, my dream hunt, like I said, anything that presents itself, I'm gonna stick it. If I can eat it, it's a tag, I'm gonna stick it. But my dream hunt is an elk hunt. I did my first elk hunt last year actually with one of my old training buddies, Dustin Jacoby. He's a UFC guy.
Yeah.
Um, with him in Colorado, he hit me up. Oh, we're going out here over the counter. If you guys want to come, I mean, my brother-in-law, we went out there. And that was probably one of the toughest but funnest things I've ever done. Like hunting, we camped out. We got there, bring tents, sleeping bags, your food. We staying for a week. We parking our car at the bottom of the mountain. We hiking up to 9,500. We sleeping there. We going up every morning, going up and down, scouting, calling, this and that. So that was tough. It was fun. We called in one elk, but it didn't have enough points. It didn't meet the minimum requirements. Then we put a stalk on another and never got it. And that really got the fire burning in me. Like, I have to get another one. I was going to go back this year, but then they gave me my fight for October. And I was in camp. Then they canceled my fight in the middle of September. And it was like, it's too late to plan an elk hunt now. So all the people I know that guide and call are already booked. So I didn't get to do it this year, but
Man, elk hunting that's a different beast. I shot my first elk this year in New Mexico, and I remember like I was telling my buddy Jake that was filming, and it was like, this is going to take a toll on my other hunting because I want to hunt elk every year. It's like a horse, cow, deer mix. Like you walk up on it, you're like, I don't even know what this is. This looks like a completely different animal than anything I've ever seen.
there's that and moose. Have you ever seen a moose?
Not up close. No,
No.
I'd love to though.
No, I had a moose like standing over my blind when I was hunting in Saskatchewan for whitetail. Like last light, waiting for the guy to come pick me up with the side by side. And like the whole day, we sit from dark to dark. So the whole day I've been looking at these spots, looking where the bait is, looking over to the field. You're looking through the brush, you're looking for antlers moving. So there's one spot where like the cattail stuff's probably like this tall. You can see the antlers or the head coming through the deer. They keep moseying. And I'm looking back and forth, just glassing with my naked eye, and I know where it's this big old black spot. But again, it's last light, so you don't know what it is. Like a tree just pop up out of nowhere. Like I had no clue. Some clue moose was in there. Moose. That moose were in the area. And I'm like, what is it? And also it was 2 of them. What is that? Like I'm looking in the dark. I put my binos up, but it's so dark you can't even see. Like what in the world? I'm sitting there looking closer. They see they bust out of the brush. They keep walking right over me. And it's to the point where they were probably like 5 feet away from me, standing on my block, and their legs are so long and they so awkward. I'm like looking over at the block, and they just, and even in the dark, it's hard to see what they are. I see big old silhouettes. Or just so happened in the morning, I went to the same blind, and this time they came out right at sunrise. They came out, and you could just see them sitting at that bait, picking up the bait, just some big old, and they were the cows, they were females, but still just like, oh my goodness, like they are so big and awkward looking, like their face looks like Squidward and their body looks like all right. I'm like, you don't know what is this? Like after that, I was like, after I kill an elk, I'm gonna do a moose hunt. But until I get my elk, I don't even want to shoot at a moose. So,
No, the moose looks like it's like on stilts. Do you see
yeah.
those little bitty legs? You're like, how is that holding up that body?
Like this is their leg. Their leg is just like I said, it was right outside of my blind. This is what their legs look like. So you look up, and the body is like it starts off from the leg to the trunk was like this one straight up. And it's just huge. Like what in the world? Like why would God make such a funny looking animal? But There's a
He
reason.
did. Yeah, they're cool. So those were probably in Saskatchewan. Those are probably the Shiras, like the smaller ones. Would you want to shoot a Yukon like an Alaskan moose, or would you care?
I don't care. I want to moose. I don't know the difference. I don't really know the difference. That was my first time seeing a moose. I never really had any fascination or even Googled a moose, but when I seen it, I realized like that's a moose. Nah, it's like after I get an elk, I wouldn't mind getting one of those.
It's it's scary when you start looking at all the different animals that exist because the first time I heard that bugle, I was like, I can't. Whitetail and elk are enough of an obsession. If I go find one more species that I love hunting like that, what do you do? I mean, I would have no time or any money to do anything else.
Well, shoot, you in Texas? Oh, you in Oklahoma? I was like, you in
Yeah.
Oklahoma, or Texas?
I live in Texas right now. I'm from Oklahoma.
But
Yep.
Texas, you can hunt year round. Y'all got all kinds of things to hunt. It's like the wild, wild west out there. It's like it's never enough species to hunt. Like that's the one thing I love about Texas. It's probably one of my favorite places to hunt because after a fight, if I lose a fight, it's not hunting season. Everybody know where I'm going. The way to clear my head is in the woods. I have to hunt something. I got to just get out there and get with nature. I hit my boy up like, yo, you got any hunt set up? Anything we can do? I know some places we can go that donate properties we can hunt. Let's go. Jump on a flight the next day. The wife already know. I'll be gone for about a week, so I get my mind clear and I'll be back. So I love
There you
it.
go.
Gonna shoot whatever's in season or an exotic. Just go ahead and get something down to get my mind clear.
Have you got an exotic yet when you came out to Texas?
Yep, I got an access, a 34.5-inch access, and a
Dang.
black buck or black tail buck, the one that spiral up, whatever. That
Mhm.
one was surprising me. I was going on a veteran hunt with the guys, just taking them out just as a guest, and then after the hunt, we stopped at this guy's ranch. Got riding around on the side by side. Like, what is that? Well, that's a black buck. You ever see? Like, no. Like, you want one? Like, what? Like, you want one? Sure. Like, let's go back and get your rifle. It took me out there and I got one. So, well, that's cool. But the axis is probably my coolest. It's huge. Like, the antlers is way up. That was the first time I seen one, and I really like that one. Like, that's like a big old fawn. That's not a fawn. That's an axis. Like a what? Like natives of Hawaii, they're deer with spots. So they kind of like reindeer antlers and all this.
Mhm.
And that was another one they donated. Or the guy to say thanks for me coming out hanging out with the veterans donated me access hunt. And just so happens like the biggest one on the property. He's like, it's going down. I don't care if you want that one. You can go kill him. End up getting them. So
Are they pretty spooky or like I've heard access are like super hard to kill?
it depends on where you hunt them. If you hunt them like a high fence where there's always customers coming in, then yes. I had a buddy before who was like, high fence, it's not hunting, this and that. You can kill them so easy. You think high fence is easy. You actually gotta let us get like access, like a doe, anything, just so you can see like, yeah, I know somebody. So it took him out there a day and a half, high fence, riding around on the trucks, and he could not get close enough to shoot one. I thought it was so easy. Like, yeah, just like the wild, they know the territory. They know people are hunting them. It's not easy. It's just different. But I've hunted them. I was hunting whitetail in like an urban area in Texas, somebody's backyard, and 3 or 4 access does, and then a buck came just walking on through. And they stopped at the feeder and started eating. I texted the guy like, "Yo, you mind if I shoot this access? Like, if you're not gonna mount it, I don't want you to shoot it." So I didn't shoot it. But again, like I was up there texting, moving my camera, and they kind of glanced up in the tree. It was a pretty good tree where I was blended, but they weren't like spooky or skittish. Could be because they were urban access and they was used to people or not, but they really didn't even spook at all. They just sat there and fed for about 10, 15 minutes and finally just moseyed off. Then a deer came in.
Now, was the one you shot was obviously a big one. I've never had access myself, never shot one, never got to hunt one, but I've heard it's one of the tastiest game meats out there.
100%. That's probably one of the best. I think is it Lanai or Orcs was the only other meat I had that was better. Like elk, I think whitetail is better than elk. But access, oh my goodness. And it was an old one. So I thought, man, this meat gonna be super tough. Like the steaks were tough, but the ground and the tenderloin, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Even my wife was like, this is so good. What deer is this? This wasn't a deer. That's an access. Like, what's that? Like, yeah, that's different, right? It's tasty. and she's Sicilian, so she can make sauce from scratch.
Oh no.
You got that access ground left? I think we got something left. Go get me some. I'm gonna use that for the sauce this Sunday. Like, all right. Tell my boy, like, yo, Jenny making the sauce tonight. Who coming over? Everybody come over quick, yo, can I get a plate? Jenny, can I get a plate? Oh, yeah, everybody knows when she makes it, when she get to making that sauce from scratch, ain't nobody leaving my house. They eating till everything is gone. Like,
She's gonna be sending you back to get another access deer.
she might. If with in Jersey, like all the does I kill is more for her. Like that's how it actually started with me just killing a bunch of does. She was making sauce and she ran out of ground. Oh, I need some ground. So when you start living off the land, you just get the deer meat and I'll start a garden. So I could really use some ground right now. Like, well, I have a spot where it's a feeder and it's gonna go off in like 30 minutes. And they come in immediately. She's like, really? Like, yeah, like I'll be right back. Literally jumped the truck at the spot like 5 minutes down the road, ran down the back way through the creek, got up my stand. As soon as I got in the stand, the feeder went off. Pull my bull up, came back. What you doing? Like you said, you want to live off the land, right? We're about to start processing this deer right now. She's like, Court, I'm 9 months pregnant. What are you talking about? And we did it right there. It took us a couple of days. I kept throwing it in the freezer and freaking it back out, but we got it done. So I cannot believe I just processed the whole deer with you pregnant, gagging the whole time. But now she got a little garden. I got the deer in the freezer. We kind of live off the land.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Well, she loves Jersey deer. When she wants ground, she prefer the Jersey deer because they're so small. They're not all tough, so super tender, and the ground just breaks down right in the sauce and just come on, like little onions and garlic and basil. You got me hungry right now.
There we go.
To make me a quick pot of pasta.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, those New Jersey deer sound like these hill country deer. I live in Georgetown, just by Cedar Park by Austin, and some of these deer, holy crap, they're small. They're like Labrador small, like small female Labrador, like those like 70 pounds. And I'm like, dude, I can't even get my pin on that thing. I was like, it's so small.
It's funny you said it. The first deer, when me and my wife were just dating, and she was staying at my house, I killed one. I came back, and again, remember, she's a DeQuisto. So her whole life, she used to seeing big deer, like huge bucks and stuff. I come home like such like what? Actually, the first deer I killed the Jersey. She's like, well, like I finally got one. She's like, let's go see it. Let's go see it. We went in the garage. I opened the door and she looks at me like, I thought you said you killed a deer. Like I did. She's like, Corey, you shot somebody's dog. I'm like, damn, babe. Like, damn. Like I've been struggling out here for like 2 months to get my first deer in New Jersey. Is how you gonna do it? She's like, I'm used to seeing big deer, Corey. I'm sorry. When I hear deer, I'm thinking a buck with like antlers, at least a doe that looked like it had babies. Like this looks like a baby. I was like, oh. Now she ate it. She's like, oh my God, don't get the big ones. I want the small one. And I call them Veal Venison. When I shoot them, I'm like, Veal Venison coming. Veal Venison coming home. And she loves it. Yes, we need more. Put it in the freezer. Just stack them up in the freezer.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome. Well, we have this kind of this segment during the show that we like to ask guests when they're on is and we call it Close But No Cigar. So it's this segment where we talk about kind of bring most bow hunters back to reality of there had to been a big buck or some sort of animal during your hunting or bow hunting journey that you got really close to that you didn't seal the deal on that still kind of haunts you. Can you think of an encounter like that?
Actually, I got two. Those back-to-back days in New Jersey. Same exact spot, 2 different bucks. So the first one was like family's permission, 18 acres of the pine. And I don't know nobody hunts, you can hunt, whatever. I go back there, and it was November 8th. I remember being super cold. I'm getting up in thick stuff, like freezing. And every time I hunt, the deer come from the same 2 trails. They come this way, and the trails intersect, and they go this way. So I'm in my stand, lone wolf in between the trees. I'm set perfect, waiting. Keep my hands on them. See does, I see small bucks coming. I know I hear. Nothing ever usually come from behind me. And I haven't looked, and it's this buck. I don't know, why? He's going to the tree. He's got to turn his head to get through without getting caught. And I turn my camera. When I get the camera back, I see the screen. I'm like, okay, I'm on. But now I got to get turned around. And again, I'm in like one of those section trees. There's like 4 or 5 trees in a cluster. So I'm tight with only a shooting window here and a shooting window here. So now for me to turn around, and remember my arrow is this long, so it's in my bow, sticking. I gotta pick my bow, like maneuver it through these trees and get behind me. And he's walking slowly towards me. He's slow. I'm seeing him on camera getting closer and closer. And he put his nose up, checking, walking through the thick stuff. And I'm turning, and I finally get turned all the way around for him not to see me. And by the time I get my bow, it feel like it's been like an hour. It's only been like 5-6 minutes. I go and I start in a wind swirl and go right off the back. I feel it hit the back of my neck. And he puts his head up and he don't bolt, but he turns around and starts fastly walking back where he came from. I still got the video of this deer on my computer, on my hard drive. One of my hard drives, I just wish I could see that deer again, knowing he's probably been shot. So I go back the next day, same spot, but I pick another tree where I got more options to shoot left, right, wherever. He come from that way or that way. I see another buck on the neighbor property with his nose down. He wasn't as big as this one, but he was pretty big body, nose down, searching along the creek. So I take my extra bleed, and hit the grunt like I'm protecting the doe, and he put his head up instantly. You hear him come across the creek. He walking all the way through the sticks up. I got him on camera the whole way. I put it right to where I know he's coming. It's a trail to come out. He comes in 19 yards. I draw. He doesn't even know I'm up there. I shoot him. And this, I can't remember what mechanicals I was using. It was a mechanical broadhead. I'm not blaming mechanical. I'm blaming my shot placement. Because now I shoot it a little high, expecting it to go straight down because I was like 25 feet up, and hit him high on the back. And it hit like kind of like the spine, shoulder area, and it sticks in the skin and it stops. It just falls down. And he turns, he takes off in the creek, and he turns on and starts stomping in the creek. And I can just see the arrow just swinging in the creek like stuck in. And I would look for blood and everything for like a day. Like, I'm not finding this deer. It didn't even penetrate through his muscles. Just like, and I actually put an episode. It was 3 deer in one day. So the first day I saw a small buck. Next one was the big one. Next one I shot, and the arrow never went through. It just hit him. And it hits, and you hear it go splack, and it just falls right down. It's hanging in his shoulder as he takes off. And that was a close but no cigar. Like, I was adrenaline pumping. I thought for sure it was over, but just hit that bone and just stopped. Like,
everybody's got one of those experiences. You've been hunting long enough, and I've shot that exact same shot and watched one. I have a 1.5 inch draw, and so when I don't get penetration, it looks like a tree limb hanging out of him. I'm like, oh, that whole arrow's out of him, and it's just running off.
I got 32.5 inch draw, so my arrows is just as long as your draw. 31.5 inches is my draw, or is my arrow. So when it hit, it just fall. Like I said, it hit his shoulder, and you can see it dragging the ground as he ran. It was in the water, like he's down and stumping in the water. And you just see my lighted knot under the water just splash, and every time he stumps, splash on the water, just like I'd rather just miss completely. Like I don't want to see it hit and don't do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, that stinks. So how big do you think that first one was? Like how wide do you think he really was?
Like wide, like he was at least 20 inches wide. At least 20 inches wide. Probably a bit wider than that. Like I said, he was like he came through. Like when he came through, he had his head down. He put his head up and started walking, and he literally had to turn his head sideways to get through the next breath, and turn his head sideways the other way to get through because his antlers got caught on the trail, like those little saplings along the trail. They could like turn his head to get through, and I was like I was looking at him, and I was like, I get the camera. So I literally swing the camera around this way, just point it backwards with the screen facing out, without looking to see if I could see him. Okay, there he is. I did everything just right. Like everything. If the wind didn't swirl, he would have been done. And literally, as soon as I grabbed my bow and started to draw, that wind, and I feel it hit the back of my neck, and my eyes just light up like, no!
Yeah.
He looked up, looked at me, turned around, and just walked off fast. Like,
that's probably not the first time he's winded a sad hunter and watched that frame run away. So
that's why he's that big. That's exactly why he's that big. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, man, I appreciate you doing this. It was fun talking to you and getting to know you a little bit and hearing your stories. But for people that want to watch your content, I know you got a lot of stuff on YouTube and Instagram. Where's the best place for people to keep up with you?
So all my hunts are out overtime. checking me out on and getting a pretty decent following. I'm doing pretty good growing there at Outdoors at Overtime as well. Instagram, if you want hunting, Outdoors at Overtime. If you want fighting, Corey A_MMA. That's COREY, letter A_MMA. But yeah, I think that's about all I got.
Heck yeah. Cool.